Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing edition of Super Sellout Podcast episode 3.
Trey. Featuring
El Victor,
and the Grand J.
everyone's favorite duo from Australia land.
Yeah, man, we're gonna become big. We're gonna be the Joe Rogan podcast of Australia, man.
Yeah, man. The Wog and the Asian united.
Yeah, man.
United at last.
It's like you, Super Wog, and my Choni.
For sure, man. Anyway, guys, we got an amazing show lined up for everyone today because, like every other episode, we are going to be doing what you love, and that's selling out and talking about trending topics that you care about. Because how else are we going to get big?
Not only that, but I've thought of some other great strategies to sell out even harder for you guys. And I will reveal them in this podcast. Every week, I'm just brainstorming ways in which I can win this bet of getting more views, even though I'm not allowed to share these videos.
He's coming up with strategies all the time. It's good. My only responsibility is to show up.
Yeah, man.
It's pretty
and
great.
To watch these videos that of topics that we're going to be talking about. Yeah, it's too hard to get Jack to read articles, so I just link him YouTube videos.
I can read articles. I know about most of these things already that we're about to talk about today. So let's talk about something real fun to start off with. Everyone's favorite stabby happy, OJ Simpson, is on Twitter.
Yay!
Yay!
So, for some of our younger viewers who may not remember the OJ Simpson thing, I think it might actually be older than I am as well. So there used to be this really popular pro football player in the NFL, I think, called OJ Simpson. Real popular, real good football player, and then he started dabbling in acting. They were actually gonna make the Terminator from Terminator 1 OJ Simpson. But yeah, so he got into trouble, or he was accused of murdering his wife or his ex-wife at the time.
Ex-wife and her partner.
Yeah, so apparently, apparently it was like the trial of the century, right? Of whether he would go to jail or be found guilty of murdering this woman. And yeah, apparently he was acquitted. So over a really long trial, he was found not guilty.
It was a time when forensic evidence started becoming quote unquote more important, or juries tended to care about that more often as far as evidence goes, because it was still a pretty new thing around then. However, the police and the detectives that were handling the case, when they showed up to the murder, they handled it really poorly. They do shit like they threw blankets over the dead bodies and carried them out. Now you might think, what's wrong with that, putting just a blanket over a dead body? Well, you think about how many fibers and shit, because that's what a lot of what forensic is. It's analyzing tiny fibers that might belong to a certain item of clothing, or where a certain drop of blood or a certain drop of fluid is from. Blankets carry a lot of sweat, for example. So by throwing these blankets over the dead bodies, you're contaminating evidence. That's some of the shit that the detectives were doing wrong during that time. And so it made all of the forensic evidence very unreliable. And one of the other things that they brought up was, you hear this all the time when you talk about the case, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. Because supposedly whoever murdered them, probably OJ, was supposedly wearing this glove when he did it. But then during the trial, OJ tried to put on the glove, but it wouldn't fit. But I mean, you can position your hand and your thumb in a certain way where you can make it look like a glove doesn't fit on your hand. So it's unless they literally grabbed the guy, held him down, and forcibly tried to put the glove on his hand, like he's not going to put it on properly if he's trying to get off scot-free with a murder. But the best thing about OJ is that he does some pretty questionable shit even after he gets acquitted. He tried to publish a book called If I Did It, which is a very violent, graphic book about basically what he would have done if he did it.
It's the dumbest thing, actually. Like, you get acquitted for murder. You should, like, probably cut your losses there. But then you're like, oh yeah, let's fucking just write a book of how I would hypothetically have done it, right?
Yeah.
Why would you even write a book about that? It's almost just like blatantly saying, I did it. Ha 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 ha, courts, you didn't find me, and here's where you should have looked. Yeah. And yeah. So moving on from that though, that OJ Simpson, he finally decided to get a Twitter account. So apparently it's called The Real OJ 32. And yeah, so he started up his account like very recently, and apparently in the first 20 minutes of him getting his account created, his account got hacked by someone on the internet, and it started tweeting shit like, oh yeah, I killed her.
Can you imagine following and that comes up? Oh my god.
Oh man. So yeah, so like the thing is that going back to the book thing, pretty much like most people are pretty certain he did it, even though he got acquitted for the trial. People are pretty confident he actually murdered his ex-wife.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then a lot of trolling started happening on the Twitters. So we watched a couple of videos on the internet, and apparently there's this video of a guy who has an OJ Simpson parody account, and apparently OJ Simpson doesn't understand what like the internet is full of trolls,
yeah.
And he started trying to like debate with this troll.
He's launched a campaign to get all of these parody and troll accounts shut down on Twitter, like the fake OJ accounts. That are just, it's like the fake Donald Trump accounts and shit like that just say like they just post shit like I'm an incompetent idiot, I'm gonna build a wall and piss on it or whatever the fuck. They're doing the same thing to OJ, but he doesn't understand that like you're well within your means to make parody accounts on the internet. So he's on this big campaign to get them all shut down. But I don't really know what his plan is, because one of them, who's got like less than 1,000 followers, I'm pretty sure.
Like 350 or something followers or some shit.
He follows it and starts DMing them.
So Real OJ is like DMing the troll account. And there's a hilarious video of the guy like messaging him backwards and forwards. We'll put that video in the link in the description below. And it's absolutely hilarious because the guy's, so OJ is getting real mad at him. He's like, oh, I'm going to get you. You better delete your account. And he's like, oh yeah, we all know what you did. We all know what you did. What are you going to do? Are you going to cut me? And then the most hilarious thing, OJ like starts messaging him the knife
emojis. and he tags, he writes, I'm not playing. I'm not playing, motherfucker.
Knife. Like, out of all the people that shouldn't be using the knife emoji, he should not be using the knife emoji.
God, no.
Oh man, it's just hilarious. It's like he's just like totally missed out on social media, and now he's like actually starting to use it. He doesn't realize he's just full of internet trolls, and that you're not supposed to respond to them or like even interact with them.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, he got totally baited into interacting with this troll.
Because if you interact with trolls, you're getting like the response they want, and so they just keep going. So no, you don't respond to trolls. You don't play into them, because then they're just like, oh, look at all the sweet reactions I'm getting. Because that's all trolling is. Trolling is just trying to get a reaction out of people.
Yeah, so it's been pretty hilarious. I'm actually honestly interested to see what other bullshit comes out from his account. Not that I even care about who OJ is or any of that politics or any of that like bullshit that's happened, but it's just hilarious to see like people really screw up on social media.
Oh yeah.
And this just the irony of him using the knife emoji is hilarious. But yeah, so
He's an insane person. But flipping the script a little bit from laughing about funny murderers, we're going to talk about something quite sad now that I found out literally 10 minutes before starting the show. And I hope this isn't in poor taste the way I've tried to transition this. There's a guy on YouTube, and I think his name is Etika, and he's a reaction channel. Like, reaction channels are super big at the moment. People just watch something and... Woo! Oh my god! Wow! That's great! He's alive! You know, shit like that. But he's one of those ones that... He's just funny, purely for the sake of the meme value. In particular, I first noticed him when Smash Brothers was being announced and we were releasing all the trailers for Smash. There's this one video where like Snake gets announced because they're doing Everyone Is Here, and he jumps out of his chair screaming and runs behind him and double-fisted like fucking Donkey Kong smashes one of the shelving units behind him and breaks it. Right? He just cracks this thing. And so people just like take away the Smash Brothers footage and they'll put just something else in there. So he's like, I don't know, reacting to like a duck hatching out of an egg or something, and he freaks out and smashes the thing again. So totally meme-worthy. Apparently a lot of people really like this guy. I heard that he was going off the rails a little bit, and he was going a little bit crazy in the like the last month. Well, regretfully, he's actually died now. At the age of 29, this poor meme-worthy bastard has unfortunately passed away, which is super sad.
How'd he die?
Etika death.
Good research.
Good research. Yeah, you're welcome. So according to Kotaku, which is just I saw a meme on Facebook. I follow a Star Wars meme group, and it just had his photo, and then below it, Obi-Wan Kenobi saying, "Goodbye, old friend. May the Force be with you." So his real name is Desmond Amofa, well-known gaming YouTuber. He was found dead in Manhattan's East River yesterday evening.
Ooh,
he was
shit.
discovered by two police, and apparently last week he had published a video that appeared like a suicide note. So, okay, apparently there was more research I should have done here, because I haven't seen his suicide note video, and I don't know if anyone's really talked about it on YouTube that much. But apparently he's having a real struggle with mental health, and self-destructed his YouTube channel and Reddit a little bit, and was making a lot of like suicide references and things like that. Anyway, he turned up dead in the river.
Wow, that's dark, man.
Yeah,
like
that's
29 years old as well. Like that's pretty young.
Yeah, that is almost your age.
Yeah, man. I was about to say it's like a year and a half older than me, man.
Yeah.
He's
He's a little bit younger than my brothers, but it's like that's super young. I mean, I lost a family member who was around that age, maybe 3 years ago, and I don't know, like suicide's a pretty big deal. I don't want to like dampen the mood of our light-hearted podcast. This is probably too quick of a tonal shift. I didn't realize how serious it was when I brought it up.
Yeah,
because like 5 minutes before the podcast, I sat down and said, "Oh my god, did you hear this guy died? I just found out then." And now we're on the podcast, I thought I
Yeah, we'll
should
just slip
mention
it
it.
in, yeah.
I thought I should mention it because it's like big news or whatever. And now I'm looking at the article, I'm like, oh wow, wow, that's pretty bad.
Probably should have checked how he died.
Yeah, probably. So there's no real indication as to whether or not he was murdered and dumped or anything like that. Or normally, if you're found in a river,
It's usually like they usually investigate homicide, don't they? Right?
yeah,
They look
but
at the body.
it seems like he may have jumped off the Manhattan Bridge and then his body's just washed up there, possibly. So. Could be a suicide, could be something more. We know he was dealing with mental health, but mental health and death don't exactly mean suicide. I mean, if you've got mental health issues, I think a lot of people do sort of dip into a bit of drugs and bad environments and deal with bad people and things like that. He could have been in a lot of
self-harm.
Could have been in a lot of trouble with. Could have been in a lot of trouble financially and borrowing money off the wrong people or getting drugs from the wrong people and. Like anything could happen. So it could still potentially be some kind of homicide-related thing. So I'm not going to say straight up he's committed suicide. That's a terrible thing. Well, suicide is a terrible thing, but like it could be anything at this stage. Fuck, for all we know, he could have been walking up and down the bridge, cooked off his head, and just fell in. He's like, oh, fuck, now I'm down. And that's it, he's gone. So, but possibly we may never know. But, man.
It's crazy, man. Like, it's like, because suicide is like the biggest killer of young people now, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's a statistical, like, fact. Because, like, our medical system is just, like, so good to a point where, like, young people, unless you've got like a super rare disease, you just don't die. Like, there's nothing that can kill you, man. Back in the day, you get like diarrhea and you're fucked, man. Like now you can get diarrhea once a month and be okay. It's just a part of your average life to get diarrhea once a month because you ate something bad or you went somewhere where you're not supposed to eat food or you ate food that would that was expired.
Yeah, well, we live in a world of vaccines and antibiotics and really effective surgeries and shit like that. There's just like
and hand soap,
yeah. Like it's the little things we take for granted, but you just it's so hard for us to die nowadays from like illness, and realistically, accidents don't really happen that often. So. Yeah, I'm willing to believe that, yes, the biggest killer of young people these days is suicide.
Yeah. Like, supposedly it's getting worse, though, because, like, with how society is, like, developed with a lot of people shifting their interactions and their relationships to a more digital space and how, like, people are using social media a lot more, it's created, like, a lot of, like, self-esteem issues with people in that, A, they no longer generally have the same degree of sort of physical relationships with people. And at the same time, social media really creates this echo chamber of where people can see like the greatest hits of like everyone else's life. And then they compare it to their own life and they just like feel really shitty inside. So yeah, actually like I think I've gone through phases of this before where like, yeah, you just see like people doing so well on social media. And you compare it to your life, and like even though like there might be ups in your life, you focus on the downs in your life while you see all the ups in other people's lives. So it just makes you feel all shitty, right?
But even those people who are posting like all their ups and stuff, a lot of them are going through the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I think about the people I know and how much happy shit they post all over their Facebook pages and Twitter or their Instagrams, all my happy photos. Here I am with my friends. Here I am with my hot boyfriend. Here I am with my dad giving me some great present for my 19th birthday, a fucking Mercedes-Benz or whatever. Thanks, Dad. A lot of these people are just seeing what other people are doing, which is the same thing, and going, well, I need my life to look that good. I don't want people to think that I've got any problems or anything like that. So it's a trap people fall in. My kind of solution for that was just to stop posting to Facebook altogether. There was probably a time when I might make a post once a day, and I know we have a mutual friend who literally makes one like joke post on Facebook every day, and his jokes are normally really bad. But I will not say his name in case he's listening. But you know who you are, buddy. You know who you are. Your jokes are bad, okay?
They're probably... Yeah, they're not as good as my jokes of things not to say to female co-workers.
Yeah, that's right.
I wish I had an office job longer. Then I would think of more things not to say to female co-workers.
Yeah, but I don't post to Facebook. I don't upload photos. One of the things I decided that I was never going to do was take photos. I thought I'm not going to take photos anymore, because taking photos and showing people photos I think is, big fucking deal. I don't care about looking at someone standing next to an Eiffel Tower, even if they're one of my best mates or my mum or whoever. I just don't care. What I would prefer people did, if they want to talk about their holidays, is come back and tell me some amazing shenanigans they got up to while they were away or something like that. So I don't care about you being on a beach or you being wherever the fuck. Like, I would rather, if you're my friend, I would rather just hear like some of the cool and wacky stories you went on while you were away. And there's no better way to do that, really, than seeing people in person, which is something I really grew to appreciate a lot more as I got out of my teen years. During my teen years, I went to school, I saw people at school and whatever, but when I went home, I was on the computer and I spoke to people on the computer. But when I became an adult, suddenly you're not seeing your friends at school anymore. You finished school, you're going to work now, you all have different jobs. None of you are seeing each other anymore. So your interactions become limited to what you used to do outside of school, which was, for the most part, just playing video games. And I have sort of reached a point in my life where I don't really want to play that many video games with my friends online anymore. I don't care. But a lot of my friends still do that. And I've tried to tell them, to not much success, I don't want to play games with you. I would rather we just go out and get burgers or something, and then we can just talk about shit.
Isn't it because no one else wants to play SWTOR with you, man? You'd probably be on your computer 24/7 if your girlfriend and you had another friend just play SWTOR with you all the time, man.
Hey, man, SWTOR's great, okay? Don't knock it. Don't knock it till you try it, man.
Nah, like, I can't do MMOs. I played WoW for a couple hours and I was like over that shit.
Yeah, I couldn't play WoW either. I could play SWTOR. But anyway, like, that personal connection that people don't get, it's not something I can really put into words or explain to you properly without saying some generic bullshit like, humans are social creatures and we need to be in tight-knit communities and have good relationships with everyone. That is the extent of my knowledge about human psychology when it comes down to interactions with other people. It is not something that I understand very well. So don't go out there thinking I'm giving you some great philosophical advice, but I can tell you that there's something way more special about, driving your friend for a Macca's run than to like just playing like a fucking quick game of cheeky chooks or something with them. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I think it's way more valuable than that. Even just like talking on Facebook. You don't fucking talk to anyone on Facebook.
I'm notoriously bad at not talking to people on Facebook.
Yeah, but when we hang out, I mean, you could dominate the conversation. But
yeah,
to that extent, we're a little bit weird in that we can go long periods of time without talking to people. I can't really get away with that because of my line of work, but you work from home.
Yeah, man. Like I work from home. I got my own business. I don't have to talk to anyone. Like I've actually we've had conversations about this before. And certain days when I'm just operating my business, I don't need to talk to anyone. I'll literally go days without literally not talking to anyone. Right? It's actually crazy when you think about it. Who out there has just gone 2 or 3 days without literally saying a word to another person. Yeah, it's like, and like I can sort of handle it because I'm like I don't feel the need to interact with people socially as much as other people. But like even for me, over the course of a couple of days, I do notice that it just like it starts messing with your head a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Like it just like I'm not sure if it makes you more paranoid. It makes you just like a little bit more cynical at the very least. You just like you become more of a cup half empty than a cup half full kind of guy. And yeah, so I think like not having great social interactions or not having more social interactions just like kind of messes up with your like your brain chemistry or like with your feelings and stuff. So yeah, you're more vulnerable to these like negative feelings that make you want to consider things such as suicide and self-harm or consumption of like drugs and like all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so I suppose yeah, I guess that's why they say like the best way to deal with stuff like depression or mental health is just to talk to people. Because I guess it's just like twofold, right? So it's like, one, when you talk to people, yeah, it's like you're expressing the things that are troubling you, and like you can talk to someone, you guys can come up with solutions or talk about ways that you can sort of like deal with your problems. But two, like it's really more so the social interaction. Like a lot of times when people sort of like take their own lives and stuff, they just like they feel really isolated. Like there might be people in their lives, but like they just don't feel that they can communicate with them, or they don't feel that the people around them can understand what they're feeling or how overwhelmed they are. And yeah, it's like it's really important when you're like in a really bad headspace is to just like find someone that like just find a friend and just like talk to them, man. And there's very few things that you can really say in that sort of mental state that if you have like a good friend that they won't like that they'll understand you, like in the sense that you say some shit, they understand that it's probably in the heat of the moment or because you're depressed as shit and stuff. And yeah, it's like as soon as you get through it, like you apologize and you like make up for it, and yeah, you're all good, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've both been like in that sort of darker place ourselves. Definitely not to Etika's level. I mean, if he did commit suicide, he's taken that extra step. I mean, but I know I have, and I'm pretty sure you've been pretty down and out yourself before.
But like real talk, who hasn't been down, man?
That's right.
Everyone has bad days.
Sure. I mean, I don't want to compare like depression to just like, man, I'm feeling a little bit grumpy today, but I'll feel better tomorrow or something like that. I don't know.
Okay, so like, yeah, depression's a pretty serious thing, right? But like, I feel it's kind of like the Voldemort effect, right? So like in Harry Potter, they're like, oh, we don't say his name; it's he who must not be named, right? But by not saying his name, he just becomes like more scarier or like a more like evil entity in your mind, right? But if you face it, just like if you try to mentally like think it's not as big of a deal, like then it seems way more like manageable in your mind to overcome it. Like, yeah, I think like a lot of times dealing with your troubles, it's just like about perspective. If you don't see the troubles or the obstacles that you're facing as something that you like something as like huge that you can't overcome, if you don't see it that way, then it's like, oh yeah, cool, like this is something I can resolve or this is something I can deal with, and you just deal with it. Yeah, so like while maybe it's true that depression and like maybe a larger or more like a biochemical or like a larger issue, I would much rather, like from my perspective or my philosophy, I would rather treat it as something that's like consider it as something like that's less of a problem and just and handle it rather than to like play it up in my mind as something that was like just way bigger than it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to think of it like some kind of incurable disease. I think I quite like the whole Voldemort idea about it. I don't know. Yeah, it's man. Definitely it's definitely an interesting way to look at it, and I think that a lot of people could find that a very useful perspective in their mind if they're trying to like rationalize things.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, do you want to move on to less depressing topics?
Rest in pepperinos, Etika. I did not know you, but apparently Jack liked your videos.
I liked your meme worthiness. As for reaction channels in general, I fucking hate them.
Okay, now we are looking at a couple of trending videos on the YouTubes, alright? We're now really sort of hitting all the quality content, alright? So, Aussie Man Reviews, like, he did an interview with Tom Holland, quizzing him on Aussie slang. And so, it's actually crazy, like, Aussie Man Reviews, like, I remember when he was, like, a way smaller channel. He's big now. He's trending on YouTube. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. I think Game of Thrones really launched him.
So, yeah.
He was uploading Game of Thrones reviews, and I think people really took that off. Plus, he was doing a lot of meme videos and shit like that, so... He just took off, man. Plus, he's got that iconic Aussie accent. Not like us. We ain't got shit, man.
Like... He probably puts it on, man. Like, I think he probably lays it on thicker than it actually is.
Yeah.
But it's just like he knows how to like he's just so fluent with like the classic Aussie slang. Yeah. So apparently he gets to do an interview with Tom Holland, right? That's crazy, right? Imagine just going from YouTube famous to being able to interview
I think what they're doing,
celebrities and shit.
I think what they're doing a lot of the time, because I know that I think Yogscast got to interview Jeff Goldblum in the lead up to Thor Ragnarok. So I
really,
think,
Yogscast?
Yeah. I think, I might be misremembering that, but a lot of the time what happens is they'll have like this big sort of press interview type shenanigan thing going on where you line up at the door. All these different interviewers are lined up at the door, and each of them get like 5 minutes with the star. So you can come in, you sit in this room, and Tom Holland or Jeff Goldblum or Chris Hemsworth was the one that Aussie Man done pretty recently as well. Like, anyone who like represents some kind of press organization can come in, sit down, and ask them some questions. But I'm sure you'd have to apply for it and go through some different
press approvals and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he was privileged enough to be able to go do something like that and say, yeah, I'm Aussie Man Reviews. I do this channel. I review movies and shit like that. So I'm gonna come in and because. Guaranteed, Tom Holland, Chris Hemsworth, Jeff Goldblum, anyone else he's ever fucking interviewed, they've got no idea who he is. They've got no idea who Aussie Man Reviews is. That's probably like the 20th interviewer they've spoken to that day. But it just so happens that he's asking them questions about Aussie slang, because he plays that game with them.
Yeah, man. So, yeah.
So I don't want to play him up and say that he's reached such a high level of stardom that he gets to interview such amazing film stars like Tom Holland.
No, he's Spider-Man, man. He's Spider-Man free.
Yeah, but fucking some Joe Schmuck from Kotaku could have like gone and spoken to him.
Yeah, but Kotaku's like $1 million company, whereas this is just Aussie Man Reviews. It's not even Aussie Team Reviews, man.
He's probably got $1 million.
Oh, he probably makes some pretty good bank, man. Like he's got a lot of views on his videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his subscriber numbers are really large.
Though I don't really know what goes into monetizing Facebook.
Yeah,
because I reckon more than half of his views would come from his Facebook page because it's much more easier to consume that on Facebook. Plus, Facebook serves those shorter videos a lot better than YouTube does, the 10-minute ones.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he might not be able to monetize those, but, like, it's used as an engagement tool, as a lead tool. So it's like, you use it to, like, get people to check out your stuff, and then they're much more likely to click on your YouTube stuff later on if they see it. And the algorithms and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, nah. Like, he's just played the system well, man. He's just played the system well, which is really weird, because you wouldn't expect someone who, like, from, like a blokey Aussie guy to, like, know social media that well to have, like, been able to translate those videos into like more Facebook views, into more YouTube views and stuff, man. It's probably an act. It's probably an act. Like
He's just like the most posh fucking British guy you've ever met.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking before the podcast. It'd be hilarious. It's like in real life, he's just like some British guy.
Hello, I am the real Aussie Man Reviews. Did you know that I have a degree at Oxford in social media marketing? Well, I bet you didn't realise that, did you? I don't even operate out of Australia. I'm in Bristol. There you go,
Yeah,
the real Aussie Man Reviews.
That was a pretty good British accent for you, man.
Thank you. I do a better British accent than I do an Australian accent.
Yeah. I can't voice act for shit, man. I'm too monotonous. But yeah, so
I don't really know if
in regards to that video, he quizzes Tom Holland on stuff like Arvo and Ashui. You haven't seen it?
No, you just like totally froze for me.
Okay. I guess we'll have to cut that out. Alright.
I won't.
Alright, cool. Good work. But yeah, so like in the video, like Aussie Man asks him a whole bunch of like Australian slang, and Tom actually has a pretty good idea about most of them. He guesses quite a lot of them pretty correctly. Like, so he didn't know what a shoey was.
Yeah.
And he asked him like, is shonky good or bad? Like a whole bunch of these terms we don't even really use, man. It's like it's real regional like Aussie slang.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I suppose like the only reason why these interviews are happening right now, I guess Tom Holland's like trending up on the internet, is because of Spider-Man 2. I forget what it's about. No, Spider-Man
Far From Home.
Far From Home, yeah. Which looks alright. Like everyone's pretty interested to see like what the twist of that movie is going to be about, right? Because like Jake Gyllenhaal is playing Mysterio, so people are like, oh yeah, is he from an alternate dimension, or is he evil, or is he a good guy, or yeah.
There's also the whole thing where like Mysterio is a fake like supervillain because he doesn't have superpowers. So a lot of people are thinking that like it's just a total act. And that Mysterio is creating like fake villains and then going out and he's the only one who can stop him because he's got some kind of just like button he presses and they just collapse. Or some shit like that.
Yeah. He can use instant kill mode.
Yeah, man. He's a god. He reckons he's going to be the next Iron Man.
Oh, I don't know. It's actually going to be real interesting to see, like, yeah, what happens in the next phase of Marvel movies.
I quite like what they did with the trailers for Far From Home because it was a bit weird that, for one thing, they brought the trailer out for it before Endgame came out. So it was like, this trailer just kind of spoils that Spider-Man comes back, right? But I guess you could say, oh, well, maybe it's not, directly after Endgame or whatever. But they did withhold the most vital piece of information that this story is that's gonna play a big role in this story, and that this is a post-Iron Man world. So it's about what are the effects of this great hero dying, which is probably on the level of something like the Death of Superman comics. What happened to the world after Superman died? So it seems like they're going for that kind of direction in future Marvel movies. If you kind of catch my drift there.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know about DC or care about DC, but it just seems like
a little bit about
that's the angle they're going for. That they kind of attempted in Suicide Squad, but shit the bed.
Like, I don't know if Captain America should feel shafted or not, right? Because, like, after the events of Endgame, technically, Captain America just kind of disappeared off the face of the planet, technically, right?
Yeah.
Because he was there, and then, like, afterwards, basically just turns into an old man, right? So it's like, on one hand, oh, yeah, okay, like, Iron Man's dead, so everyone's mourning his loss, but Captain America basically just disappears. No one gives a shit about him, right?
Oh, bad.
So on one hand, he gets no credit, but then on the other hand, he gets to live. So who should be more should he be more or less butthurt right now?
Yeah, bad. Okay. We could go on to the Belle Delphine topic, but I just realized talking to you, I don't know if you know this, but Teamfight Tactics actually came out this morning.
On the League of Legends? Like,
yeah, on
like
the League
public
client,
server?
because I spent all of yesterday...
Oh my god.
I spent all of yesterday, like, updating my PBE launcher so I could get on and try and play. The second I tried to log in, it's like 4 hours wait time, and I'm like, what? Okay. That's fucking massive, so I gave up on that dream of ever playing it. But then I got home from work, which is something like 6 in the morning, and I noticed my launcher was down for an update. And I was like, okay, whatever. So they're doing maintenance. And then at 7, it came back up. And I tried to go in, and then there's this tab that just says Teamfight Tactics. I'm like, oh my fucking god, it's out. So I played it, like, straight away. It took a while to, like, properly load. I don't know what was going on with it. It wasn't updating. It had finished updating, but it just wasn't ready to launch yet. But then when it was ready, I played it. And in my first ever game of Teamfight Tactics, I was winning for pretty much the majority of it until the very end. I think there was 3 of us left, and the last 2 guys just, like, got like level 3s, and I thought I had level 3s, but I wasn't reading the UI right, so I only had a bunch of level 2s, and I got my shit rolled. This is like the last 5 rounds. Right up to the last 5 rounds, I was flogging everyone really bad, and then all of a sudden the script just flipped, and now I was getting flogged really bad. So obviously there's a lot for me to learn, but the game is pretty... The game seems pretty robust. It is in open beta, however, so there are going to be still some kinks to be worked out. Plus, there's probably still shitloads of champions that they might be planning on adding to it or adjusting and shit like that. A lot of balancing changes they might want to make. There's a lot that goes into it. And if it's going to have any life, you would want to hope that it gets updates. But I kind of worry about the auto chess sort of, I'm going to call it the quote-unquote metagame, because you have all those different like roles and factions and shit like that give your characters different buffs based on how many of that unit you have.
The race and class buffs, yeah.
So I wonder what happens to the game if you start adding way more characters into it. Do you just keep introducing new races and classes, or do you just keep adding characters that fill those different races and classes, and then suddenly are you able to get the maximum buff for, like, nobles really quickly? Like, a year or 2 down the track, if this game is still getting updated and characters are still getting added?
Well, there's a couple of ways that they are possibly going to solve it. So one way that Dota or Auto Chess is Dota Underlords currently dealing with it is that every major patch, they will look at the hero that's got the least amount of wins. They will take them offline to rework them. So they'll cycle certain characters out, as they're cycling new ones in. As for like the buffs and stuff, like balance wise, like for example, and like I'm just like I haven't really been following the Teamfight Tactics stuff, but I know that Dota Underlords put out a patch today, which pretty coincidental timing as well. And so basically, like when they added in like a couple of new like mages, they changed the mage buff from being like 3 and 6 to be 3, 6, 9. But then they like redistributed the buff that you get from it. So like when they affect the champion pool, they rebalance things like the different classes and stuff that get affected from that as well. But yeah, it certainly does affect the meta. Just like having like 1 or 2 like characters of a specific race is generally the one that like a little bit more difficult to divide by. Yeah, so like so with so race will like change, like a lot of races become a lot easier or difficult to achieve depending on what gets added in. But yeah, so I can understand like if the pool gets really too wide, then it becomes really difficult to make your synergistical picks. And yeah, so on. So like, I suppose that's just something that this game genre has to determine what it's going to do in the sort of like medium term. How far can it expand out, right? I guess it's kind of like what League of Legends. Like League of Legends it's still like free bans, right? But like if the champion pool is so large, do free bans still matter as much?
Oh, Riot's got 5 bans now.
Okay, yeah. See, that's what they did. It's like when the pool just like increases enough, you just like increase the bans and the bans and stuff, right?
So they changed it to I think you get everyone gets 2 bans at the start of the game, at the start of drafting, and then halfway through drafting you get another 3 bans, or it's the other way around, 3 and 2. That's what they do in competitive. In pubs, in just like draft games, ranked draft games, whatever. One person, like everyone on both teams gets to ban 1 champion. So 10 champions end up getting banned.
Okay.
But you can ban, but then because they're all done blind, the same champion can be banned twice. So I might really hate playing against a Lowy, so I'll ban a Lowy. But then someone else might go, Lowy's pretty OP, I don't want to play against her. And he'll ban her as well. And then you'll flip it over. It's like, fuck, we both banned a Lowy. Guess nobody wanted to play her. But for some people, it's like, do you want to take the risk? Like, is Yasuo the most overpowered champion in the game with a fucking 70% win rate or something? If none of us are going to play him, do we want to take the risk of him being up? Maybe they don't play Yasuo themselves, but maybe they're probably going to ban him, but also they might have first picks. I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it, but
yeah.
If you're just playing solo queue, you just ban what you don't want to play against, really. Like, they've just given you that option now. You can ban the number 1 champion you hate playing against the most, which is a bit off topic, but yeah. Anyway.
Teamfight Tactics, man. I gotta get on top of it. I've been busy as shit, so haven't really played these games. Been busy researching up these videos.
I've played 1 game, and thus far I am enjoying it. But I did always enjoy auto chess.
It's just that the auto chess UI was really shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one thing that really pained me a lot about auto chess, which I guess I could have just looked up whenever and worked out for myself, is I just wanted to know how much experience I needed to level up and how much experience and how many times I needed to push the button. Because sometimes I'd look at it and go, I need to make a level. And so I'd buy it for 4 gold and it'd move up like the tiniest bit, and I'd be like, well, that was a waste of 4 gold. I don't really have the money for that at all right now.
You just look it up online.
That's what I said. I said I could just look it up, but I don't.
Yeah, it's literally hold Alt. If you hold Alt, it shows you how much XP you got.
Alright, whatever.
That's all you have to do. You've seen me do it.
No, I don't fucking watch you play that hard.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, interested to see how it goes. Like, I'll give it a try now that I know that's on the public servers.
Yeah, you might have a bit of trouble getting into a game, but
why?
There's a lot of. I just loaded up the launcher now. There's like how many fucking errors are there? There's like 3 different errors on the launcher right now. There are disconnects happening. Well, account transfers isn't really related, but there's an account transfers issue, and there's a level restriction. Actually, maybe it's not that bad. Looking at them now and reading them,
man.
It's probably not that bad.
It's probably just like an immediate patching issue, man.
But they have restricted teamfight tactics to people above level 10 for the time being. I think it's just because they expect a shitload of people jumping on.
Yeah.
So it's
that's fine. If you're level 30, if you can play rank, you can easily do that. I guess it's just to stop people from making a new account, people that didn't play League of Legends before, right?
Yeah, I can log in just fine. Okay. Well, I saw 3 errors and I'm like, ooh. But it's only from this particular patch that we're on.
Maybe your
They
computer
are
has
also-
viruses, man.
They are also planning to release a ranked mode
Oh
for
shit!
Teamfight Tactics, which is still a little while away, but it's coming. Oh, it's coming.
I'll have to play it a little bit, see how much I like Teamfight Tactics compared to Underlords. I haven't played either at all. But after I get all my shit knocked out for this weekend, then we're good. Then we'll play some auto chess. But
I'm
like I
gonna
said,
play the moment we finish podcasting.
Drodo chess, it's done. Like
Oh, yeah.
Drodo auto chess. I see the ads on Facebook and YouTube, and like they are desperately trying to get any sort of market share that they can right now, but they are dead in the water, man. It's like Battleborn trying to like get as much market share as it could, like releasing 2 weeks before Overwatch.
Bad.
Then Overwatch releases, and everyone's like, "What? Battleborn? What was that?"
Yeah, right. Yeah, I love that people even tried to compare them. Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, next topic.
Yeah.
All right. This one's the real spicy topic here, right? So,
You
apparently
ready
there's
to
been
get
a...
demonetized. Not that we are monetized anyway.
We could be monetized. Well, so, some spicy interactions recently. So, for some of you guys who may not know, there's this, for a lack of better word... What?
Instagram ho.
Okay, there's a lack of better words, Instagram ho called Belle Delphine, most famously known for the Ahergao face, which is the hentai orgasm face that she has.
Cross-eyed tongue out one, yeah.
Yeah, man. So she does very spicy pictures on the Instagrams and stuff like that for Patreon money. So recently, like I think it was on Instagram, she's like, "Oh yeah, if this post gets 1 million likes, she'll make a Pornhub account." And that post very quickly got up to 1 million likes. And then so it came up to her to make an account on Pornhub and to upload some videos, and she made some troll videos. She like made a video that says like PewDiePie.
Fucking no one's surprised, my god. I mean, look at the way she words it. If this gets 1 million likes, I'll make a Pornhub account. Not I'll upload a 10-minute video of me sucking cock. I'll make a Pornhub account. She could have just uploaded another picture to Instagram or a link to her Pornhub account and then never uploaded anything, and she's completely fulfilled her commitment to the cause. Having said that, if she uploaded real porn, I would have watched it. I'm not ashamed to admit. It would have been a nice surprise.
Not gonna lie, like when I've seen hentai and I've seen the Ahergao face, I don't understand the appeal. But IRL, when she had some of those photos on her Instagram, I can understand the appeal. So yeah, basically she trolled the internet to get likes. And then she trolled all these people by getting them to click on her Pornhub videos when she clearly didn't make any porn. And now she's trolling people like me and you who are making videos discussing about this controversy.
So she gets more fucking Instagram followers.
It's so much engagement.
It's a marketing campaign.
No. See, this is what you got to do to be successful on social media, man. You got to come up with these bullshit schemes to grab the attention, man. All right. So my schemes as we're coming, I'm coming up with schemes, man, as well. All right, and they're gonna get us views, man. This is just like this entire podcast is a podcast of self-discovery as we discover all the different bullshit ways in which you can like hack the social media system.
Hey, after like the 10th podcast, I'll be willing to renegotiate our terms to see how much freedom I'm willing to give you in promoting this.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll return to that in 7 episodes.
Yeah, man. But so this chick. Okay, let's think about this, right? So she was able to get like a ton of views on her Instagram, which gives her like more value on her Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
All right. She made these Pornhub videos, which like a whole bunch of dudes clicked. I don't know what sort of benefit she gets off that.
The title of one of them was putting PewDiePie inside of me or something like that. And she ate a photo of PewDiePie, which is actually a really meta joke because there was a guy on the internet who used to upload to PewDiePie's subreddit. And he would upload a video every day, and the title of every video was exactly the same. Eating a picture of PewDiePie until PewDiePie eats a picture of me. So every day he would come online and eat a photo of just his head. And he would do that every single day. And then PewDiePie said, just like as a joke in one of his videos, alright, if he gets to 100, then I'll do it. I'll eat a photo of him. Anyway, he got to 100, so PewDiePie ate a photo of him. So it's actually a pretty meta joke that she's eating a picture of PewDiePie, which I quite appreciate. So I do tip my beanie to that particular video.
Oh man, like that makes me think that this whole scheme was even more elaborate and smarter than I originally thought. It's just like galaxy mind level shit here, man.
The fucking galaxy meme. The big brain meme.
Yeah, man. You hear about all these... Like, look, I swear to God, it could just be that, like, all these YouTubers are just, like, pushing different trends backwards and forwards between each other. And, like, that's how they get views. That's how they stay at the top.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Fucking hell. To bring it back to Belle Delphine for a second, kind of one thing I do want to say, I did like do a quick scroll down her Instagram. I'll say this about Instagram as a platform. You're not really allowed to upload just like straight, full-on tits-out pornography. But looking at what she does upload, one of her most recent photos is she's like in a fucking computer chair in a weird position, legs spread. She's got no top on. The only thing covering her nipples are like those stripper fucking cross tape marks. And she's literally got a blurred out dildo in one hand. She basically just uploads softcore porn and just gets shitloads of fucking followers and likes. And it's probably a majority of like those Fortnite 16-year-old boys that are watching her. And it's all good because it's not real pornography. It's just a hot girl on the internet. It's the equivalent of like how 80s kids used to put like pictures of hot girls on motorcycles up on their walls in their room. Is just like following her account. So anyway.
Oh, that Patreon money though, man.
Oh yeah. Patreon. Oh yeah. I mean, you know, I used to follow a cosplay chick on Twitter, and she had a Patreon, and she uploaded some reasonably sexual photos, but it was nothing too outrageous. I can't really show anything on the show, but I was one of her Patreons.
Oh man!
And
I wonder.
But I just did it because I wanted to see what was on there. But I left it running without noticing that it was running. So just all these fucking prints just like came to my house one day. It was like, oh fuck, mum, don't know how to explain this one to you.
Your mum opened it and checked it?
Nah, she didn't. I was just making a little gag. But I also had her Snapchat, so I spoke to her a couple of times on Snapchat, but not very often. She's just doing straight out porn now. It started off as like this Belle Delphine sort of stuff. Like, I'm going to cosplay and look a little bit sexy because I know I'm hot and I got a good booty or whatever. And now it's just straight up uploading porn and people are buying it. So I would be willing to add another $100 to my bet right now if by the end of our 6 months on this podcast, if Belle Delphine does not just straight upload nudes, total fucking tits out nudes, for a fee, of course, everything for a fee.
Of course, man. Of course you.
Then
of course you will, man.
I'm willing to throw another $100 on top of.
I don't want to take that bet. Like, I'm with you on that bet, man.
Straight up,
man.
she's gonna be uploading porn anyway at some point. Just the monetary gain that's there for her, and she's already basically doing that. I mean, this is a route This is a route that I believe happens for a lot of cosplay girls. Because I just imagine the fucking confidence boost these cosplay chicks get when they make these great extravagant costumes and everyone says they're so great, they're so great, they're so great. But as we know, a lot of girls in like media pop culture are often very sexy. So when they want to cosplay the sexier girls, they have to wear the sexier outfits themselves. And then you get people commenting more. Oh, that's really sexy. That's really sexy. You're so hot. You're so hot. And then they start looking into the different avenue streams they can go down and shit like that. Eventually they just end up as cam whores, man. I believe that happens to a lot of cosplay chicks. Not all of them. I'm not saying you're all sluts, but I'm saying that some of you do go down that avenue, and that's okay with me. I bought her prints, man. I bought her prints. I've got her on Snapchat. She like straight up uploads videos of her sucking dick.
Like, I definitely... I think it's an issue of, like, the ones that do go down that path are far more prominent and have much more of a social media presence than the one that don't, right? So it could just be that maybe 5 or 10% or 20% even do this, right? But they're the most prominent, like, 20%. Like, the other 80% are just, like, kind of smaller people that just like to cosplay, right? Because, like, I've met a ton of cosplayers and, like, there's not that many hot girls trying to do the cosplaying shit to try to like transition over into porn, man. Even though it's
I don't think a lot of them start off like, oh, I do this to go into porn. In particular, like, I mean, this is true of any girl that goes into porn. A lot of the time, they're just chicks that really enjoy sex and they're really like sexual in their personal life and shit like that. So all of those ones that happen to do the really sexy cosplays just end up doing porn, like something pornographic anyway. And I think that Belle Delphine doing what she's doing, which is already basically softcore porn, at some point she'll just be selling straight nudes. In fact, I can probably go on her Patreon, subscribe to it right now for the highest tier possible. There will probably just be straight up nudes on there.
Yeah, of course, man. It's like, why wouldn't you do that? It's so, like, the money is so easy, man.
But then I remember there was another cosplay chick that I used to follow. She was a League chick that I spoke to sometimes. She didn't really do the super sexy cosplays. I remember she did a Diana cosplay that just had like the leotard and so it just like straight went right over her, lady parts. She like designed like a skirt bit to go over the top of it because she didn't want to walk around with her fucking junk just about hanging out like that. Like she wasn't comfortable with that. She was totally weird about that sort of stuff. But then I remember, I haven't checked on it recently, but I remember not really that long ago when I like checked out her Twitter some other time, she was uploading some much more sexier type photos up there that she wouldn't have normally done back when I first followed her. So I think a lot of cosplay chicks will get that kind of confidence boost to upload things that are more down the sexual avenue.
I guess as they like realize, like as their popularity grows as a cosplayer, and they realize that they can make a income off like selling photos and that sort of stuff, they realize they can earn even more money the more risque the photos are, and I suppose. It's kind of
Belle Delphine might be at a point where she's like, I make so much money already and I don't have to get my tits out.
Yeah, man.
So she might actually not go down the tits out route. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
right? It's like, yeah. Um, I don't know. Like, I don't know what sort of people like paying money for that sort of shit, man. Like, young kids, they really shouldn't have the money to be spending on this sort of stuff, man. Plus, like, young kids should realize porn on the internet is free. Like, why pay for any of the nudes that she's sending you or any of the sexy pictures that she's sending you when you can just search it up on the internet for free, right? That's what boggles my mind. But yeah,
I'm a bad person to talk to this about.
okay. Well,
moving on.
Let's okay. I'm gonna stick with. Let's go to Jacksfilms apparently gets his move, the deep dab, stolen by Fortnite.
This is not an uncommon thing for Fortnite to just like steal some pop culture thing and put it in their game. Because they're just trying to like sell skins and emotes and shit. It happens in a lot of games. I mean, fucking League of Legends, right? Yellow Jacket Shen. Like, there are Shen skins that are basically just straight rips from Mortal Kombat. So, I mean, game devs do this all the time when it comes to skins and even emotes. If you think about the dances in League of Legends, all the dances are just, like, stolen from somewhere. Like, Warwick does the Thriller and shit like that. So it's not really an uncommon thing for games to do that. I mean, shit references movies and stuff like that all the time. But they normally at the very least change the name or don't mention the name of it. Jacksfilms like made a whole like fucking video about doing the deepest dab, and he called it the deep dab. You know, Fortnite could have easily called it the squat dab or something like that, or the low dab, but they called it the deep dab. And they were comparing it like frame by frame, how similar the dabs were, and
it's almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like seeing the comparison. And you know what he got? Sweet fuck all.
Oh, bad. He reckons he set up a code or something so he can get a little bit of a kickback.
Like a referral code? Yeah.
Yeah. But it was basically nothing for him. I think something like $300.
Yeah.
Which, to me or you, doing the Super Sellout podcast, $300 for a referral code.
Nah, it's not enough, man.
Hey,
not
I'm
enough for
Fortnite.
Happy. Not enough for... But
for him...
It's not Super Sellout, it's minor Sellout, man.
But anyway, for Jacksfilms, that's like fuck all. Sweet fuck all.
Like, he should have tried to get in on the legal pursuits that all these other people are suing Epic
like
Games about. Because the Carlton and the Backpack Kid, they still haven't even like finished. Like, they still haven't settled that legal dispute though.
Yeah.
So it's not clear whether you can like copyright a dance move, but in this case, it was very blatantly ripping off the deep dab like video. Like, I'm not sure if he has a right to it. I'm not sure if like he has a right to claim anything about it, but like the thing is that, and he even made a whole point of it that he has to buy an emote for his own like move. They should have contacted him at least, right? So like if you take that shit off the internet, you should just like message them from Epic Games and be like, hey, we're interested in using like whatever. Can we get permission or whatever? And then like maybe we can launch it, or we could like share it on social media. We'll like give you like free like freebies or whatever, and like at least just give him some courtesy.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know how much of a fan he is of Fortnite, right? But if Fortnite like were to contact you directly and give you some free stuff and say, oh yeah, we can like immortalize one of your personal moves by making it an emote, then a lot of people would just be like, oh yeah, sweet, like just do it, man. Like, don't even care about the money, right?
Yeah.
But it's one of those situations where it's like the fact that you don't ask him for permission is the part that really sort of shits people off. So if they spoke to him beforehand, like, he'd probably be cool with it, right? Maybe even with some like minor financial kickback. But yeah, it's the fact that they didn't contact him beforehand is the real shitty part.
It's Fortnite.
Yeah, man. But Oh well.
The
Moving
deep
on
dab.
to even more
Do you
to more
reckon I
games
can
news.
do a deeper dab?
You are I was about to say you are pretty flexible, but then it sounds kind of sus how I know you're that flexible.
I'm not really that flexible anymore. I haven't danced in almost 10 years now.
Okay, I
But
don't like where this topic's going and what people can like construe from this conversation.
I'm just saying, I reckon I can dab deeper than Jacksfilms. And my name's Jack too.
Oh shit!
I will be the superior Jack this time next year.
Yeah, you should make a video called the Deeper Dab, and then get get Epic Games to create an emote called the Deeper Dab.
It's just gonna be some shit like I'm just gonna lean down, headbutt the ground, and then come back up. That's all it's gonna be.
Yeah, man.
Anyway,
Let's see what next to talk about. Oh yeah, dude, there was this real big trending video, game theory on how YouTube is ruining gaming, man. And this even more quality content to learn about how to game the system on YouTube, man. So did you watch that game theory?
I have seen that game theory. I watched it maybe last night while I was working, which I thought it was a really, really good watch myself. Kind of the way it is with game theories and me, I tend to watch them multiple times because they're often nuggets that I just kind of miss, or I'll have to, before I really understand what's said in it, I'll have to watch it again. So this is one of those videos I wish I watched a second time before coming onto the podcast, but I do more or less understand what was going on in it, and it's talking about how a product is promoted. But you would have a better idea of this sort of thing than I would, so I'll let you talk about it because I'll just and through the whole thing.
Cool, just handball it off to me. Good thing I am pretty aware of how the YouTubes work and stuff, right?
You'd understand
So
it better than I would anyway.
yeah. So I guess like the best way to talk about this. So Matt Pat talks about the way in which people promote promote games, and how those games get more exposure on the internet, and how that causes more people to play those games, create more content, and then subsequently creates like this snowball effect of content, right? So it's kind of why games like Minecraft and Fortnite blew up so big, because some people would create some content, other people would see it, they'll get into the games, they'll create more content, and that because more people creating content, more people viewing content, it becomes much more of a likely topic to trend. And so more people will see it, and so you have a very large snowballing of viewership, which means it's much more valuable for content creators to create even more content for those games, right? So it's basically the reason why Minecraft and Fortnite are basically pretty much like 80 to 90% of trending videos in the gaming tab now on YouTube are just Fortnite or Minecraft videos, man. Because there's just like this constant positive loop of there's so much exposure on these games that video creators will get a good return on the time and energy they invest into these games, right? Now, the reason why this is a bit of an issue, so it's not an issue with like Fortnite, and it's not a particular issue with Minecraft, but it's an issue with how YouTube's like advertising and branding has been a little bit more restrictive. So yeah, ever since the adpocalypses, brands have been much more wary of like what sort of videos they advertise on, and so YouTube has given advertisers more control over what sort of content they want their ads to be seen around, and so there are different classifications of videos now that are kind of automatically determined by the algorithm, by whether like it's a controversial topic, whether it's a violent video game, whether it's blood, whether it is like references to drugs and that sort of stuff. But based on that, there's basically almost like a rating system for different sort of YouTube content. And now the thing is that a lot of video games these days are now actually all sort of like meet the mature criteria for advertisements, so they don't get the most general degree of advertisement, so they don't get the best CPM on advertisements, and sometimes they don't even get advertisements at all, just because inherently most mature games now have either blood or violence or guns or anything like that, right? So because of that, it's not as financially worth it to create content for these newer games. Because you don't get as much like advertisement exposure, and because you don't get as much advertisement exposure, not as many people will think it's worthwhile to create content in these like newer or more nichier games or like more mature games. And so you can't create that same snowball effect of like trending a whole bunch of content up for these games, which means that they don't get the exposure, which means that like there's no sort of popularity hype bandwagon for them, right? Which is why like games like Minecraft and Fortnite, which aren't particularly violent. Well, like I suppose Fortnite, you are shooting people, right? But it's not like a very
violence. It's basically Tom and Jerry levels of violence. Fortnite, even though Tom and Jerry had guns as well, I guess. But it's that Looney Tunes sort of like when Daffy Duck gets shot with a fucking hand cannon right to the face, rather than blowing his head off, his bill just like spins around and around. There's no blood in Fortnite. There's no dismemberment or anything like that. It's more or less the equivalent of someone getting hit with a dodgeball. Like, ooh, that kind of hurt a little bit. I'm going to crawl around on my knees. It's
kind of like the fighting game equivalent of Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Of like, they've really just cartoonified all the violence. So instead of making it seem like it's a violent modern game, it's like, oh yeah, here's just like a fun game that people are playing, and then when you die, you just like despawned or whatever, right?
Contrasting to Mortal Kombat, which I watch a lot of the new Mortal Kombat game. I was watching so much of it, and I thought it was such a good game, to the level where I actually think it's probably the best Mortal Kombat game to date. Which is just my opinion, guys. Okay, it's just my opinion.
Nah, man, MK9's best MK.
No, I played MK9. I haven't played this one, but I like this one more. Funny enough, but
I bet you like the collectibles and the customizable costumes and the loot boxes.
I'm not gonna go into like what the best MK game is right now. Okay, you've like totally derailed me here. But I've been watching a lot of Mortal Kombat videos, and I noticed right from the get-go, one of the things that all the Mortal Kombat creators are doing is, so there are crushing blows in the game, which are a very important part of the gameplay. If a character doesn't have good crushing blows, that's one of the things that determines whether or not they're a good character. It's not the whole package, but they need to have a good variety of crushing blows. So pretty much every game you're playing, you can expect yourself to use anywhere between 2 to 3 crushing blows, and your opponent to also use that many in just one best of 3. So because they're like X-ray moves, and the game doesn't have a built-in way to censor crushing blows, which I really think they probably should have done, because it's an option to use a brutality, it's an option to use a fatality. Not always with the brutality, you might accidentally stumble into one, but it's not an option not to use or see the crushing blows. There are some crushing blows that don't do the full X-ray thing, which Mortal Kombat 9 popularized, but because you see it so often now in the new game, what all of the content creators are doing is they're trying to find ways to trick the YouTube algorithm into thinking there's no gore or violence by changing the color palette of their video just as a crushing blow is about to happen. So I'll be watching them fight, and then suddenly fucking Jax or whoever like starts swinging a big fist down, but then the whole video will just like invert its colors, and I'm like, oh, here comes a crushing blow. Bam, sure enough, there it is. So you're watching it and you can just tell when they all are. I'm pretty sure they don't do it for when VODs from things like Combo Breaker get re-uploaded and things like that. I'm pretty sure they don't do it for those ones. But just like your Maximilians or your Super or True Underdog Gaming, they all have to use this kind of like YouTube algorithm, YouTube monitoring loophole thing just to get around this one problem. And I was watching this game so much, I didn't realize until I watched this MatPat video when he said in the video, this is why Mortal Kombat 11, which was gearing up to be one of the biggest Mortal Kombat games of all time, is underperforming. And I thought, hang on a fucking second, it's underperforming? I didn't even realize because I'd been watching it so much, but it makes total sense. It's a pain in the ass for people to make videos on this game. They got to do that extra level of editing that they wouldn't have to do if they played like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which itself is really big and doesn't have any level of like gore or whatever, because it's, again, that kind of like cartoony violence. And it's not getting like demonetized, age restricted or anything like that. So it's still coming up more often in searches, which Mortal Kombat 11 is not. So
also, I wonder if it's any different for you because like you're on YouTube Red as well, right? So you don't see ads, so there's no reason for them to restrict the sort of content that you see, right? Because you're on YouTube Red, you don't get the ads, so it doesn't matter what they show you, right? Because like I'm on like YouTube Poor, so I see the ads. Now I get double ads, man. Sometimes I get 2 ads before a video now.
Yeah.
So I can understand them only throttling me towards like the nice boy content.
I'm not really sure about that because the way YouTube Red works, to my knowledge, is that where a video would normally play an ad, YouTube Red will tell that ad that the ad got played when it really didn't. If that makes any sense.
Oh, is that what it does? Okay.
So I think it's kind of like an ad block, but it tells the ad that it got played. So it still counts it as a view. When
are you sure that doesn't sound right, man? Because when
they have subscriptions
back
as well. So if you're paying for YouTube Red, everyone who pays for YouTube Red, that's covering the expenditure that goes towards the ads, which normally would have been watched, but now aren't.
Yeah.
But you also have subscription models on YouTube now as well. So you can subscribe to your favorite YouTuber by giving them money. So there are paid subscriptions on YouTube now, which are separate to YouTube Red. That's its own thing.
But yeah, going back to like the game theory video, it actually kind of makes sense in that like there's plenty of times where it's like, oh yeah, I could like make more YouTube content for particular games that I'm interested in, but it's like, oh yeah, if if there's not that much of a community for it and there's not that much viewership for it, then like you don't get
restricting it as well.
Yeah, and so like so there's like kind of no point in trying to like invest your time or energy into something that's not really gonna like become more popular, and so like. That's why there's so that's why people go into Fortnite and shit, man. Like I know people who've like it's like I know some cosplayer girls who are like just like they just play the game that's currently got the highest numbers on them, and like by de facto like have no loyalty towards like whatever game that they want to play or whatever genre they want to play. Just play the game that's most popular. It used to be League of Legends, and then it was Overwatch, and now it's like Fortnite. You know, and they've become big Twitch streamers, like in the context of Australia at the very least, right? So it's like go super Sellout or stick with the games that you like, man.
Yeah, more or less.
And that's why we're gonna go with our next segment, which is it's one of the new strategies I'm gonna implement. It's called the FriendlyJordies news segment, right? Alright, so to introduce this segment, right, we're just going to talk about the latest videos that FriendlyJordies has released this week, right?
Because FriendlyJordies... girls! Oh no!
Exactly, man. We're the Super Sellout podcast. Embrace it, man. Embrace it.
Can we put Jordan in the thumbnail, please?
he'll go at some point. He'll like scroll through YouTube and just be like, "Wait, what the fuck? Why is my face on someone else's YouTube video?" Right?
Because no one really talks about him. He's got like 500,000 subscribers, but no one talks about him.
Well, that's good then. Then we can be those guys, right? It's like,
hi, Jordan. I hope you read my book.
please leave us a comment in the comment section down below if you read his book. Or let us know if you didn't read the book. So yeah, okay, so here's the general gist of it. It's like, okay, we're going to talk about FriendlyJordies videos because he makes some pretty good videos, pretty interesting videos, some spicy videos in Australia that has some nice shareability memes. And okay, it's really hard to get engagement or it's really hard to get viewership on the Facebooks, on the YouTubes. So we're just going to talk a little bit about his videos every week. And then ideally, we can like get a little bit of that like trending or related topic YouTube algorithm going. And then at some point, we might either shit him off enough or he might like our content enough for him to give us a shout out. And then boom, we're in the game.
And then he can come on our podcast.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Or he can be on the podcast from like your room or my room. And it's like,
he's not from Melbourne.
oh, he's not?
He's from like
Is he
Sydney, dude.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know.
I'll fly him down. It's
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
We're just riding on his coattails.
Bad.
But that's my strategy. This whole entire YouTube video is just like been us discussing YouTube strategies and social media strategies. But that's what we're going to do, man. So he released 2 videos recently. So one, you've watched both of these, right, Jack?
Yes.
Okay, so like the first one was you're Australian when. So he's just like going on about a whole bunch of just like random Australian stereotypes, man. What do you think about the video, Jack?
I like all of his videos. He never used to upload as often as this, but he's just sort of gone into the meme review format lately, which he has named, and I love the name. It's called Ja Rule's Fun Times Spooktacular, which is such a silly name and totally plays into my kind of humor. Because
I like how he describes his videos as like becoming the Watch Mojo of Australia.
I remember when he said that.
Remember when like Watch Mojo there were just so many Watch Mojo videos.
Oh yeah, daily
like,
top tens. Daily
I
top
forget
10s.
which year it was. Maybe like 2 years ago. It was like Watch Mojo top 10s like every day.
Oh yeah,
so many videos.
Fuck man. Like it was just easy viewing. Just like pick any random dumb topic, and then just pick out 10 things. It doesn't matter if the order's good or not, or if you miss a couple. If you miss a couple things, it's whatever. It stirs up. Like if people don't like your video anyway, it just stirs up enough controversy, like on a smaller scale, not on like a fucking, some news article site's gonna start shitting on YouTube level of controversy. Just like a YouTube comment section kind of like outrage.
Like it got to a point where they were basically just like doing top 10 and that's just using predictive text to finish up the rest of the sentence. Just top 10, middle. Now we'll Google it.
And we'll just cherry pick the little bits and pieces. And so no, I do really, I am thoroughly enjoying the new FriendlyJordies videos. I even watch all his political ones and everything. They're all pretty interesting. But he's been doing this new format for, maybe
a couple of months now.
A few months now, yeah. Because it used to be you wouldn't get a video out of him for every like 2 months or something. But I think he realized at some point that doesn't really work in the modern day YouTube, uploading once every 2 to 3 months. And he was getting better because he had like Patreon subscribers. And he had enough of an income that he could pay like editors and things like that to work on his videos more often. But this was just, I guess, the natural progression for him. I also like his rating systems as well when he's reviewing things.
Oh,
the
yeah.
very first one was disappointed Asian dads out of 10.
I remember sad bachelor heads as well for single people meals.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're Australian when like one of the first things he says is just like, "Oh yeah, when a Hilux smashes your car." Like, have you like ever been in an accident with those trucks before?
I've never been in an accident before at all.
Yeah, man. Like I remember, like when I was really young, yeah, my dad rammed into one of those cars. His car got fucked up, and the other guy's ute was just totally fine.
Oh yeah, because they're unbreakable, man. The Hilux is unbreakable. Or someone had a Hilux in a fucking TV show like years ago, where I think it might have been Top Gear actually. They put a Hilux on top of a skyscraper, and then they imploded the skyscraper, or the building, and so the Hilux just collapsed into the building, and then they salvaged the Hilux and tried to start it again, and they were successful. They drove that Hilux back to the studio. No, it was Top Gear because they had it hanging on the wall of the studio.
Shit, man.
Yeah. So they're a pretty mean, tough car. The Hilux. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like his second video, Warhammer 40. If Warhammer 40k was Australian,
He was comparing the different races to like different groups of people in Australia. And I love it when he shits on the Liberal Party and compares them to... Oh, hang on, he said the fucking... there was this race of people in... I don't really know Warhammer lore or races or anything like that, but there was one of them that are like... there's this race of people that just no longer have a soul or some shit. And he said that they were telemarketers from fucking... from like Telstra or wherever the hell.
oh man, I lost my shit. He just starts with like, oh yeah, Space Marines, they're chub security.
But he's just like, what I love about him is that he's so quick-witted, and he can make like these funny comparisons and like similes for different groups of people and topics and things like that. I really like it when someone is doing some kind of comedy thing, but they can just like, they're really good at just bringing up weird and obscure references all the time.
He references Simpsons a lot, have you noticed?
Yeah, he does. He also references the Neighbours a little bit. I remember he was talking, he had a video that was like, most iconic Australians or something like that. And one of them was like Toadie's car from fucking Neighbours when he drove it into the fucking lake. And it's like that is like the most... It's such an obscure reference that I don't think anyone's been talking about for years. Or like the puppet from Hey Hey It's Saturday. I think, dude, who talks about Hey Hey It's Saturday anymore? And you weren't even born when that show was on, I'm pretty sure.
Nah, like Hey Hey It Was Saturday was on when I was like really young.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I was like
he's
5
like
to 8 years old, yeah. But yeah, like the one that really made me lose my shit was like when he was talking about like the economics. It's like, oh, it's just like Lee Carvello's putting challenge, whereas John Howard followed his advice on feather touch, whereas they did power drive. Do you remember that? I lost economic fiscal management of Australia.
You have selected power drive. Fuck me. Have you watched all the Chronicles of Yilmaz?
No. Yeah. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about right now.
It's a playlist on his channel where all he's doing is talking about an old sort of like friend he had from high school that was just this fucking weird like Turkish guy that just used to say dumb shit all the time. They're a real good watch. That's pretty quality meme worthy. A week ago he made a video called Teaching is a Nightmare, and he talks about, you know, just, it's one of those, what's it like to be a fucking high school teacher or whatever, and what kind of crap do they have to go through, and Yilmaz snuck an appearance into that episode, which I really appreciate because Yilmaz is a character that he holds on to. Because, most people, if they're making videos and shit like that and they come up with a character and it just takes off, they'll just spam the shit out of that character. Like, every other video is going to have this character in it. But he really holds on to Yilmaz. He doesn't overuse the character. So every time you see him, it might be years between him making new Yilmaz content. But when he does, you're like, oh my god, Yilmaz, yay! So you get, super hyped.
Yeah, man. But, okay, nah. FriendlyJordies is a good topic. We just gotta work on how we're going to critique his videos. Maybe...
Yeah, hold back on the gushing a little bit, maybe, for one thing.
Yeah. Future videos, maybe we'll do, a reacts. We'll watch it live. We'll watch a video live. Put a small thumbnail somewhere.
Yeah,
and then we'll talk it live out.
We're going to be uploading 2 videos a week from now on. We're going to be doing the podcast, and then we'll do an additional video where we just react to FriendlyJordies content.
And just every time he releases a video, one of us records a reaction. And here's the thing, we'll just pre-record our reaction, so we'll just be like, oh, it's hilarious, shit, that's hilarious. And then we just...
Oh my god, guys! Wow, so funny!
And then, you then just overlay or put his video in a corner.
I'm sorry, Jordan. But we have to sell out somehow.
We got to sell out somehow, and it's all right. Okay, if we do continue with this FriendlyJordies critiquing on our videos, then our goal is to get in this situation where we just hang out, meet up with him and hang out with him for drinks or something, and we'll social media it.
Yeah, man, I'm keen as a bean. I met him last time he was in Melbourne. We talked for a little bit, though it was kind of awkward because I was tired and I meant to go watch his show, but I didn't because I missed the whole thing, which is good work on my part. He promised me extra tickets, but they didn't get me extra tickets. What a bunch of a-holes. But apparently I'm getting free tickets next time he's in Melbourne. But, real talk, I'm pretty sure they're just going to forget about me. So
ask him about it.
They'll come down, I'll message them, and they'll just be like, I don't know who you are. Okay.
Nah, he'll remember. He seems like a pretty smart switch-on guy. He'll remember.
Oh, he's really clever.
Yeah. And then at some point we'll just lay it out there. Oh yeah, we've been making some videos about you. And he'll be like, oh really? And then that's when we get it, man. He'll start watching some of the videos. And then bang, we got him. And then he'll be like, oh, these guys are hilarious. He retweets it. Oh, super sellout. As long as he has another round of shows in Melbourne before the end of the year, I will win this bet. GG.
I don't know, man. But, I don't know. I'm not convinced yet. I think he actually gets pretty good. He actually has a really good ratio of views to subscribers. He's got 250k subscribers, and he averages about 90 to 100k views a video. Normally, the expected rate of views, especially with how frequently he uploads. His bigger videos, yeah, alright, they only come out once a month or whatever. You expect them to get a lot of views. But normally, if you upload multiple times a week, the expectation is
not all your viewers are going to tune in.
Yeah, but it's normally around a tenth, 10% of your subscribers are actually active viewers. He's at 30-something%, I think.
But yeah,
that was my quick math.
But it's good that we've got all this podcast discussions on the podcast. Usually with other shows, they'll just secretly hide all their secret strategies behind the scenes. Don't let people know. We're just widely in the open, just openly admitting what we're doing. But then at the same time, we can look back at it. So over the course of 6 months, we can look back and listen to these and we just listen to our bullshit strategies develop week over week
until
we actually get to like a hilarious
dude,
end game strategy.
I feel like we're doing an Ed and Nettie like scam of the week, dude. I don't know if you ever watched that cartoon as a kid.
Nah, like the artwork on that show really sort of weirded me out.
Yeah, but
plus I didn't have
every episode there was like a new scam. So I kind of feel like we're doing that at the moment.
That's social media. Literally every week there's a new scam. Like every month there's a new scam, man. Like it's like we didn't even get time on this podcast to talk about all the real scams like Bitcoin and shit like that. Bitcoin. But I guess we'll finish up this podcast with the trailer for My Hero Academia Season 4 came out. And you didn't watch it, eh?
No.
Oh, man.
Unpopular opinion, I'm not that into My Hero.
What the fuck? We were so into it!
I don't know. I'm just like... It's one of those things I look back and I think about and I'm just like, I'm not feeling it.
You used to love anime. Now you don't love anime anymore.
I watch One Piece.
It's like... One Piece is like the worst anime to watch.
No, it's not.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying like the story's bad. I'm just saying like as an anime, it's really annoying to watch because it's so slow and it's so slow. There's so many flashbacks. They like just filler it up, man. Like One Piece is so fillered up. Like it's a great story,
it's not but it's the filler isn't that bad. Like the most annoying thing is like the first 5 to 10 minutes of every episode are just like the intro and the remember what happened last time bullshit, and this is where we're up to today, like the recaps. There's a lot of that. Like I gotta skip through a sizable chunk of the first part of every episode, but that's really as bad as it gets. There are some episodes more towards the end of arcs where they start
how far are you
in
the series?
Huh?
How far are you in the series? Into
Fishman
One Piece?
Island.
Fishman, like, okay, dude, don't you remember like the battle, the War of the Legends?
Yeah, like right after Marineford, there was a shitload.
Yeah,
but like
Luffy was just running for like so long.
Yeah, well, they stopped continuing the story at that point, kind of. Like they were going back and doing like when Luffy was a kid and shit like that. But everything beyond that point was like post-time skip for the most part. There was not a lot they had to get through. They just had to say, cool, everyone's split up now and they're training on their own, and these are all their different teachers, and we'll see you in 2 years.
I swear to God, One Piece is like just 20% watching people run. Like, I'm pretty sure it's like 20% of the entire series is just like people running.
No, I don't think so. I think Naruto was a lot worse at that. I think Naruto was probably the worst anime when it comes to filler. And trying to watch it week by week. I might have a different opinion if I was watching One Piece as it was coming out. So if I was up to date, like I was right up to Wano and watching all that shit with Kaido at the moment, I might have a different opinion because I'm waiting every week to see what happens next. And I mean, it's not like JoJo's, where JoJo's episodes do have an element of being self-contained about them, because like Stardust Crusaders and Beyond are all very like villain of the week type things.
Yeah.
Which makes them slightly more self-contained. So like JoJo's are more or less pretty easy to watch week by week. But in these overarching story animes, especially with the whole like especially when it comes to Dragon Ball Z, I mean, by the time the anime was releasing the episodes where Goku is fighting Frieza, Toriyama was behind in the manga, and so he was like racing the TV show to keep up. So that's why the longest fight in all of anime history is Goku versus Frieza. And it's like
for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was supposed to only be like a 5-minute fight, but in viewing time, it's something like 18 hours.
No, it's not 18 hours, man.
Like, it's a long time.
it would have been like what 5 or 6 episodes, man. So it would have been like what 2 hours long or something.
It was more than 5 or 6 episodes. Because there are all those different stages of the fight too, though.
No, it was 5 minutes after Frieza threw the Death Ball down, which
right.
only occurred after Goku went Super Saiyan.
Of Goku versus Frieza, there was so many different stages of that fight. Like when he first shows up, and they're just duking it out to begin with, and then he starts using higher levels of Kaioken, and then Frieza goes, I'm going to use 2% of my power now, and they're just kind of contesting each other, and then he goes, I'm going to use 20% of my power, and starts flogging Goku really bad.
Yeah, okay, so if you count those episodes...
So he's got to come up with all these different gimmicks to beat him, and then he's like, well, I guess I got to use the spirit, but there are different stages to the fight, even before he turns Super Saiyan. I'm going to look it up, alright?
No, okay. So, like, what I meant was, like, the 5 minutes was, like, 6 episodes. But for the actual Frieza to Goku fight, I'm guesstimating it's probably around 13 to 14 episodes.
4 hours and 13 minutes.
Times that by 3 is 14-ish episodes.
How long was the Goku versus Frieza fight?
Man.
Don't you fucking say 5 minutes. Episode 87 to 105.
Okay, now do the maths.
No, man, it's fucking 2 in the morning.
87 to 105 is... what, 17 episodes or some shit? 18 episodes?
Which is what we said originally.
Yeah.
So 90 to 100, so that's 13 plus 5. Yeah, it's 18 episodes.
Yeah.
That was my slow math.
Yeah. But anyways, My Hero Academia, it's good. I enjoy it. This next season it's going to be interesting. It shows you briefly the powers of the big three. So they're going to have a more proactive role in season 4. But it's coming out in like the 10th month, which is... What's the 10th month? August?
It's October.
Oh, okay, that's right. I'm so shitty with your English months. Because like all Asians, we don't have names for different months. We just call it month 1, month 2, month like 8, month 10. And the thing that shits me off is October. Oct is 8, but it's a 10th month. It shits me off so bad.
And December is 12th, and it's
man.
Yeah. Decim.
But yeah, December's easy to remember because it's just the last one, right? But it's like literally I get confused from August to November.
You should be getting confused from September as well.
Yeah,
Sep
like
is 7.
yeah. So September fucks with me. August fucks with me. Like most of them fuck with me, man.
I actually don't know why they did that. Now thinking about it.
Okay, so supposedly what happened is like so they were all in line. So there were originally 10 months in a year, and so like September was the 7th month, and December was the 10th month. But apparently the Roman Empire, like Julius Caesar and someone else, and Augustus, they thought that they were so important that they deserved a month in a year, so they added themselves into the year as July and August.
Wow.
And that's what fucked up the calendar system. So, because I remember that I saw it from a meme post, and someone said, "Oh yeah, it's because these two Roman empires fucked with the system." And then the next post down was like, "Oh, someone should like fuck those guys. Someone should stab them for what they did." And then the next post was, "They actually did." They deserve to get stabbed for that.
Yeah.
They actually did.
But why didn't they put them on the end though, right? So keep December as the 10th month, then make the last 2 months of the year July and August.
They're like, oh, fuck maths, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's about a good time to wrap up.
Yeah,
We're pushing 2 hours.
Yeah, man. All our ramblings. We didn't even get through all these topics, man. I thought we were just gonna have a shorter podcast today. I figure next time in future we just keep it like we won't waffle on as much, man. Keep it short and simple. Hit our topics, and we'll do Friendly Jordies review again.
The content nobody asked for, but you didn't know you wanted.
It's how the internet works. So from Victor and Grand J, this is Super Sellout Podcast, episode 3. Deep dive free.
Deep dab free.
Dab free. Out.
See you later.